Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's good to see you back on our Zoom. Let's get started with today's lesson. So today is Thursday, February 25th, 2021. Go ahead, get out your reading notebook so that you can write that down on your paper. Remember, you can pause the video anywhere you need to so that you can have extra time to copy the information down. Our grammar focus this week, guys, we've been talking about quotation marks. So our grammar focus says, I can identify that quotation marks indicate dialogue. So for our grammar focus slide, we have a very special figure in Black excellence. Her name is Valerie L. Thomas. Right here, Valerie L. Thomas was a scientist and an inventor who is responsible for inventing 3D 3D. So if you've ever been to a movie and saw a movie in 3D, then guess what? That was Valerie L. Thomas and her calculations that helped us develop 3D. So there's another figure for you for Black excellence. All right, we're moving on and we're talking about capitalizing and punctuating quotations. Remember yesterday we talked about the rules for capitalizing and punctuating quotations. So you always capitalize the first word of the speaker's exact words. So just on this example, that is in quotations. That's the first word in the speaker's exact words. Here is another example. Your. If this was in a sentence just by itself, you wouldn't capitalize it unless it was at the beginning. But because it's at the beginning of the quotation mark, you're going to capitalize that word. You add a comma, a question mark, or an exclamation point inside the quotations at the end of the speaker's words. So here is, you always put punctuation at the end of the speaker's words. It can be a comma, an exclamation point, or it can be a question mark. Now, if this is the end of the sentence, then you would put a period there if you weren't using, if it wasn't a question or if it was an exclamation. So you would use a period here also. If you add a period to the same sentence, so you're going to add a period at the end of the sentence. So if like right here, it says he exclaimed. Well, I add a period at the end of that speech tag. So if a quotation comes last, add punctuation inside the quotation marks. So if the quotation comes last, like here, you add the punctuation at the end. So this is how you write it. So notice here is a comma that separates the speech tag and the quotation. You put a comma right here if the quotation is last, but if the quotation is first, then you're going to put the comma inside of the quotation marks. Let's look at it a little further. All right, so here we have some sentences. It says identify where the quotation marks should be placed in each sentence. So I'm going to read the sentence, and then I want you to write the sentence on your paper, and then I want you to put the quotation marks correctly where they're supposed to go. Okay, number one, it says, Jack asked, what time will we leave for the ball game? Okay, write that sentence on your paper and put the quotation marks where they're supposed to go. And then we're going to look at where they're actually supposed to go, the correct place. If you need extra time, go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so you should have written that first sentence on your paper. Let's look at where those quotation marks actually should go and see if you got it right. Let's see if you can get these right. So that's where the quotation marks go. It goes right here because look, we have our speech tag Jack said, so I know, or Jack asked, sorry, Jack asked. So we know that the next words, the next part of the sentence is what Jack asked. So we're going to put that in quotation marks because that is his exact words, his exact words. It's called a quote. The quotation mark, remember, the ending quotation mark goes after the punctuation. Let's do number two. Number two, write that on your paper and then add the quotation marks. Number two says, his dad responded about 3 o'clock. Where did you put the quotation marks? Where did you put the quotation marks? Well, you should have written them right after the speech tag. His dad responded, comma, then you write your quotation marks. About 3 o'clock, period goes right here inside of the quotation mark. Okay, we'll do number three. Write number three on your paper. Write number three on your paper and add the quotation marks in the correct place. So if you wrote them right there, you are most definitely correct because remember, you have your speech tag. It says Jack asked, comma, you always put a comma after the speech tag if it comes first, and then you write your quotation mark, capitalize that first word in the quote, and then make sure that your punctuation is within the quotation marks, and then add your last quotation mark. Let's read number 4 together. Ready? Read. His dad replied about 15 minutes. So the quotation marks would go there. The next one says, Sarah, let's read it together. Ready? Read. Sarah said, I want to take my tent on a camping trip. And that's where the quotations will go. All right, guys. So let's look at some capitalizing and punctuating quotations. So identify the correct capitalization and punctuation for each sentence. So I want you to I want you to pause the video here, and I want you guys to write down each sentence, but I want you guys to make sure you capitalize and punctuate the sentences correctly and put the quotation marks in the correct place. So pause it here. You're going to copy down each sentence 1 through 4, and you're going to capitalize it correctly, punctuate it correctly, and add the quotation marks in the correct spot. Remember the rules we just talked about. You always capitalize the first word in the quotes. You add your punctuation within the quotation marks. You put a comma after the speech tag if the speech tag comes first. And you put a comma, a question mark, or an exclamation point within the quotation marks if the speech tag comes last. All right, go ahead and try it. Okay, so you should have written those things down in your journal. Let's look at the correct answers. So number 1, James asked, what time is it? So this is how it should look. James asked, comma, quotation marks, what time is it? And looks like I didn't remember to capitalize that W. So I'm going to capitalize it. Okay, there you go. That looks correct now. So remember, you always capitalize the first word within the quotation marks. But I did everything else correctly. I have my question mark inside of the quotes, and I have my comma right here after the speech tag. All right, let's look at number 2. I don't know, replied Sarah. Or Sarah replied, sorry. I don't know, Sarah replied. Well, let's look at the way we should have written that. I don't know, comma, Sarah replied. So I have my quotation marks. I have my comma within the quotation marks. Sarah replied, I capitalized that word, Sarah. Why do I capitalize Sarah? Sarah is a noun. Do I capitalize all nouns? No, I only capitalize proper nouns. Sarah is a proper noun because it's the name of a person. So you capitalize the names of people, places, or things. Those are proper nouns. Number 3, I forgot my watch today, she exclaimed. So I would write that. I forgot my watch today. I have that comma right there. Remember, I got my comma right there. She exclaimed. And then my last sentence says, James said it must be about 3. James said, comma, it must be about 3. And I have a period at the end because the quote ends the sentence. So I put a period at the end inside of the quotation marks. If you got all of those right, give yourself a pat on the back and a round of applause. Great job, guys. All right, moving on to our reading focus this week. For reading this week, we have been talking about relationships. Let's read our I can statement together. I can explain the relationships among major and minor characters. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about the relationship between Finway and Hattie. And we explored the relationships between the other characters as well. All right, guys. So before we jump into our reading focus, let's look at our Black excellence figure. For this slide, that is Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm was an American politician, educator, and author. In 1968, she became the first Black woman elected to the United States Congress, representing New York's 12th congressional district for 7 terms. She served from 1969 to 1983. And this quote is amazing that she said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. So because she made her own opportunities, that's what that means. If people don't give you an opportunity, then you make your own opportunity. I think that is definitely Black excellence. Round of applause for Shirley Chisholm. All right, guys, let's get into it. Yesterday, we talked about our character connections web, and we connected Finway, Food Lady, Fetchman, and Hattie. We figured out what their relationships were like. Let's look at that that character connection web. So we learned that Food Lady is bossy. She feeds the dog. She cares for Finway, and Finway is protective of Food Lady. We learned that Fetchman plays fetch with Finway, puts Finway away if he misbehaves. And we learned that Finway and Hattie love each other. They protect one another. They have an owner and pet relationship, and they play together. They also call each other best buddies. That's what Hattie calls Finway, best buddies. So guys, if you did not get this down yesterday, then write this on your paper. Pause the video here and copy it down, because we're gonna write 2 paragraphs today about Finway and Hattie. So you're gonna need to write this down. All right, let's get into our writing prompts. So we're writing our paragraphs. Paragraph 1, you write a paragraph that is 3 to 5 sentences that describes the relationship between Finway and Hattie. So in your paragraph, you must you must answer the following questions. How do the characters feel about one another? Have to give an example from the story. So think about all of the interactions that Finway and Hattie have had. How does that tell you what they feel, how they feel about each other? So you need to give an example. Tell me how they feel about each other in a complete sentence. Finway and Hattie blank one another. And then, or Finway and Hattie, however you want to word it, but you have to use a complete sentence. And then tell me why. So tell me why you believe that, because what from the story tells you that that is true. That's an example. Give me an example. How do they treat one another? So give me an example. Make your statement, they treat one another like, and then give me an example from the story. Tell me about their interactions. Tell me about something that happened in the story between those two characters. You must use complete sentences and correct capitalization and punctuation. All right, scholars, let's look at our paragraph 2. So that was paragraph 1. And now we're looking at paragraph 2 of our paper about Finway and Hattie. So paragraph 2, you're going to read this quote. It says, "Truly great friends are hard to find, difficult to leave, and impossible to forget." Think about the importance of great friendships, like the ones represented in Finway and Hattie. Write about the most important quality of a friend. A quality is like a characteristic, something that is, you remember we talked about inward traits and outward traits. Well, a quality is like an inward trait. I know that some qualities of friends are kindness, being supportive, being protective, um, being a leader. Those are different qualities. Pick, what do you think the most important part of being a friend to someone is? Tell about the quality and explain why it is important. Be sure to clearly state your central idea, organize your writing, develop your writing in detail, and choose words carefully. Use correct spelling, capitalization, punctuation, grammar, and sentences. All right, so that's paragraph 2. Let's look at, I'm going to remind you of hamburger writing. So I'm going to remind you on how to write a paragraph. So you're going to use those two, you're going to write two paragraphs, and this is how you're going to write those paragraphs. So your um your first sentence is called a topic sentence. We've talked about this before, but this is just a bit of a review to help you write your sentences, or your paragraphs, sorry, to help you write your paragraphs. So the first sentence in your paragraph needs to be the topic sentence. A topic sentence tells what the whole paragraph will be about. So you start your paragraph telling what the whole paragraph will be about. It is usually the first sentence in the paragraph, and put simply, a topic sentence is the main idea. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to show you an example of a writing prompt, just like the ones that we just looked at, those writing prompts we just looked at. And then I'm going to give you the topic sentence and all of the other parts of our paragraph. All right, moving on to, remember, because we talked about a hamburger, right? So this is the top bun of our hamburger. A paragraph is like a hamburger. So the top bun is the topic sentence. Let's move on to the next part of our hamburger. So the supporting details are like all of the toppings in our hamburger. Remember, we talked about what we like on that hamburger. We like lettuce and cheese and tomatoes and pickles and onions and mustard and ketchup, right? So all of the supporting details, those examples that I asked you to give me, those are the toppings on the hamburger. So supporting details are sentences that support the topic sentence. So our topic sentence for our first paragraph is about Finway and Hattie's relationship. So you need to have supporting details that support Finway and Hattie's relationship. Supporting details include things like text evidence, facts, reasons, and examples. To help the writing flow smoothly, good writers use transition words and phrases between details. All right, we're gonna move on to the bottom bun. That is the closing sentence. So the closing sentence is the bottom bun. A closing sentence is the very last sentence. The closing sentence restates the main idea, but in a different way. So guys, this is the way you're going to write those two paragraphs using hamburger writing. And let's look at a good example of hamburger writing. Okay, guys, so here is my example. So this is my writing prompt. This is what I'm going to write about. Do cats or dogs make better pets? Write an opinion piece about this topic. So this is what I'm going to write about, and when I'm writing my paragraph, I need to first write my topic sentence. So topic sentence is the main idea, right? So what the paragraph will be about. So that's what I'm going to write. What is the paragraph about? Well, the paragraph is about which animal I think is a better pet. So here's what I wrote. I think dogs make better pets than cats. And here is why I believe this. So now you know what the paragraph is about, that dogs make better pets than cats, and I'm telling you why. All right, supporting details, remember that's facts, evidence, examples that support the main idea. Let's look at supporting detail number 1. First, that's highlighted because first is a transition word. Dogs are very friendly. They like to play and give you kisses. Cats are moody. Sometimes they will hide under the furniture and run from you. Another reason dogs are better than cats is that they can be trained to help their owners. There are many types of service dogs like seeing eye dogs, search and rescue dogs, and awesome police dogs. Lastly, when you have a dog, they can protect your home from burglars. When someone tries to break into your home, your dog will bark and even attack the robbers. All right, so these are my reasons why dogs are better than cats. In your paragraphs, you're going to write examples. So you're going to write examples. You might give reasons why you're in your second paragraph. You might give a reason why you believe which quality is the best. Yes, you might give reasons, and you'll give examples of good qualities in friendship. So you're going to give reasons and examples as your details. And our closing sentence, remember that's the last sentence and it restates the main idea, but in a different way. So this is my last sentence. So that's a transition word. These are the reasons dogs rule and cats drool. I restated what I believed, that dogs are better pets than cats, but I put it in a different way. So when you're done writing this out, all you're going to do is write these things all together in a paragraph. So you just put these sentences together. I wrote them out using this graphic organizer, but to make a paragraph, I would just write all of these sentences together. Make sure I use punctuation correctly. All right, guys. Complete your writing assignment on paper. So I don't want you to type it out. I want you to complete it on paper. If you are virtual, take a picture of your writing assignment and text it to Miss Willis at 409-241-6257. If you are face-to-face, if you are a face-to-face student, put your assignment in your backpack and turn it in on Monday. So this is an assignment, it is a grade, so make sure that you complete your assignment. All right, guys, let's get to our Fenway and Hattie Chapter 5. Fenway and Hattie Chapter 5.
Chapter 5. When it's morning time outside, the doorbell sounds again. Intruders! Watch out! I bark, rushing over. A vicious dog is on patrol. Despite the very obvious risk of danger, Fetchman opens the door. A lady human is standing on the porch. Next to her is a short human, about the same size as Hattie. She is wearing a cap exactly like Fetchman's, only hers has a long wavy tail hanging out the back. Hello, the lady human sings. She's holding a basket that smells like warm muffins with cinnamon. Wowee! I bark, running in circles. Muffins! Muffins! I love muffins! Muffin Lady laughs a friendly laugh and talks for a bit. Neighbor, I hear her say. Food Lady hurries over, full of happy chatter. I hear her say, neighbor, too. She welcomes them inside. I jump on their legs, sniffing furiously. The short human smells amazing, like bubblegum and Fetchman's fat leather glove and dogs. Golden Retriever and another breed I can't quite identify. Muffin Lady smells even more strongly of dogs. Familiar dogs. Food Lady is smiling at Muffin Lady like she's her best friend. Did I mention she's carrying a basket of muffins? And they smell so warm and cinnamony. I leap higher and higher, my paw batting her knee. Muffin Lady startles, but sadly not even one muffin spills out of the basket. Fenway! Fetchman scolds. He turns to Muffin Lady, shrugging sheepishly. Puppy, I hear him say. Muffin Lady laughs again and says, rambunctious. That must mean she likes me, because she stoops down and scratches behind my ears. My humans are wincing in horror. What do they have against a dog making new friends? Food Lady snatches the basket and wraps it in her arms like she's trying to protect it. Fetchman rushes to the stairs and calls for Hattie. Why didn't I think of that? Hattie! Hattie! I race over. Great news! Muffins! Hattie arrives and steps into the lounging place. I trot along behind her, my tail swishing wildly. Fetchman puts his hand on her shoulder. Hattie, he announces. Muffin Lady grins and taps the cap of the other short human. Angel, she says. Angel glances at Hattie. She mutters something like a greeting, then her gaze drops to her feet. Hattie edges closer, smiling and hopeful. But when Angel does not look up, Hattie smells disappointed. Next thing I know, Food Lady herds everyone down the perfect running surface and into the eating place. Except me. I slump down on the carpet outside the doorway. The humans gather around the table. Pretty soon they're all chattering, having a good time, and munching on those muffins. The warm scent of cinnamon taunts my nostrils. My eyes spot lovely crumbles near Hattie's feet. My belly aches. I'm hungry too, you know, I whine, looking at them with sad eyes. And I sure do love muffins. Muffin Lady and Angel glance over with puzzled faces, like they've never seen a starving dog before. Hattie grabs a muffin and starts to get up. Here it comes. I spring up in happy anticipation. I slurp my chops. But Muffin Lady holds out her arm, and Hattie sits back down. Training? Muffin Lady asks. Food Lady and Fetchman look embarrassed. Fetchman shrugs. Too busy, Food Lady says. What could it mean? It can't be good because Hattie has clearly given up on bringing me that muffin. Instead, she stares straight at me and leans out over her knees. Fenway, she calls in a sweet voice. Whoa, is she nuts? Does she actually think I'm going to run onto that wicked floor? I slink back down and lower my head, my gaze firmly on my short human. Muffin Lady pats Hattie's arm and nods in approval. Hattie holds out a chunk of muffin. Fenway, she calls, even sweeter this time. That muffin looks so yummy. I sink down deeper into the cushy carpeting, my tummy empty and rumbling. This is not how my Hattie behaves. She's supposed to bring it to me. It's all so horrible. Plus, they're having fun without me. There must be something I can do. I get up and wander around, trying to think. And before I knew it, I'm at the sliding door. Aha! Why didn't I think of it sooner? Hurry! Hurry! I wail, jumping up and scratching the screen. Somebody let me out! Right now! It works! Hattie and Angel appear at my side. They open the door and we all zoom through. The short humans blast down the steps, and I'm right behind them. I'm ready for fun! The grass is wet and puddly. Still no signs of other dogs, but it could be worse. At least there were no squirrels. Hattie and Angel have a head start, but I'm up for the chase. I'm hot on their heels as they run through the grass. Of course, I'd rather be chased than be the chaser, but sometimes it's okay to mix things up. But when Hattie and Angel get to the giant tree, they stop. I get a bad feeling. Hattie points at the way up high leafy branches. She shows Angel the laddery steps on the back of the trunk. As I'm barreling over, Hattie starts climbing. Come on, she says. Angel smiles, but she smells hesitant. I leap up, pawing the bottom rung. No fair, Hattie, I bark. We can't play chase up there. Come on, Hattie says again from halfway up the trunk. She's obviously heading for that squirrel house again. I collapse into the soggy grass with a groan. Angel sighs, then begins climbing up after Hattie. I'm still watching long after the short humans disappear into the leafy leaves. I'm about to go sniff around some more, but then my ears perk to wonderful jingly sounds. Hooray! Hooray! Dogs are coming! I get up and trot over to the fence. Through the slats, I see two of them romping around in the dog park next door. Hey! Hello! I call. The dogs stop mid-romp and gallop over. Fenway? Says the white one in her lovely voice. I told you he'd be back, said the golden. Sure enough, it's those same two ladies. Are they the only two visitors to that dog park? And why don't they come to this one? Great memory, I say. So, have you two been coming here for always? They exchange glances, then look back at me. What do you mean? We live here, Goldie says. I cock my head. You live in a dog park? Goldie gets an irritated look and opens her mouth, but before she can answer, Patches says, Was that our short human you were trying to chase just now? What? No, it was mine. Hattie, remember? Oh, we remember, Goldie says with a growl. How did you say it? Super best friends? You do everything together, isn't that right? Patches rolls her eyes at Goldie, then turns back to me. I meant Angel. Wow, is she your short human? No wonder she smelled like golden retriever and whatever kind of dog Patches is. Well, she used to be, Goldie says. I looked at her sideways. Isn't she still? Technically, yes, but things change. Patches lowers her head. In the beginning, she was fun, a lot like your Hattie. We'd walk to the river and play fetch. I believe it was the pond and we played frisbee, Goldie corrects. Fact is, Patches says with a faraway gleam in her eye, she used to be great. I thought she would always stay that way. Goldie scowls. I knew it wouldn't last. As I recall, you were awfully fond of her, Patches says. We both were. She had a lot of potential, like most short humans, Goldie says. It's so tragic, Patches says. Short humans never stay interested in anything for very long. Sad but true, Goldie huffs. They go from one thing to another without even looking back. Nowadays, she acts like we're not even here, Patches says, a little yelp in her voice. Goldie paws the ground. She's totally forgotten about the good times we used to have. Gee, that's such a bummer for you, I say. But not all short humans are like that. Hattie's different. Goldie snorts. Are you sure about that? You don't know her. She's completely devoted to me, I insist. She's the best short human ever. Maybe that's how it was before, Goldie says, drawing out that last word. But it doesn't look that way now. What are you talking about? I say. But when I gaze up into the giant tree, I have my answer. Hattie's smiling face is poking out of the squirrel house window. Without me. And a massive boulder crushes my heart.
Okay, scholars. So that was chapter 5 of Fenway and Hattie, and your test today will be over chapters 3 through 5 that we've read this week. All right, let's go ahead and start. We're going to look at our assignments for today. Make sure you go to Google Classroom and you find classwork. This week is week 3.8 of course, and our assignments for today are our spelling assignment. You have your challenge words where you rewrite the word. Make sure that's in ABC order. Do your hidden words. Find the word within the word jumble. Like I see delightful right here. So you'll write it right there. Number 8 is word clues. Which challenge word matches? Very sad. So let's look for the word very sad. Sorrowful. Sorrow means sad, and full means full of. So full of sadness. That means very sad. Sorrowful. And then our next one is number 9. Another way to say it. Which challenge word could replace the underlined word? So that this is finding synonyms, right? Emma was always considerate of her parents' wishes. Let's find a synonym for the word considerate. I see one right there, respectful. So we put that right here. All right, friends. Now let's look at our assignments for today. Here is your assignments for today. You have Fenway and Hattie quiz, chapters 3 through 5. You have your Reading Express spelling test, suffixes full and less. And then here's your writing assignment, your instructions for your writing assignment. You need to get that complete. If you are a virtual student, if you do school virtually, you write your writing assignment and then you take a picture and you send it to me. If you're a face-to-face student and you're coming back on Monday, then all you need to do is write your writing assignment on paper, put it in your backpack so you can turn it in on Monday. All right, guys. Remember to check your emails for missing assignments because we only have 2 weeks of this 9 weeks left. And here is your spelling activity. All right, friends, don't forget to do your attendance and have a wonderful day. I'll see you later.